You hear the term data science thrown around everywhere, but what does it actually mean? In this explainer, we're going to cut right through the buzzwords to show you what it is, what it takes to do it, and, maybe most importantly, how it's already reshaping our world. I just love this quote, often credited to Sherlock Holmes, because it perfectly sets the stage for what we're talking about. Think about it. Data is the fundamental raw material. It's the clay from which data scientists build everything. And believe me, we have a lot of clay. Every single time you click on a website, every second your phone tracks your location, every purchase you make online, all of it generates data. And this incredible flood of information presents both a massive challenge and a gigantic opportunity. So that's the big question, right? It's one thing to have all this raw data piling up, but how in the world do you turn that chaos into clarity, into something that helps you make smart decisions? Well, that transformation, that is the core mission of data science. Okay, so let's get right to it and start with a solid, no-nonsense definition. Data science is a term you hear constantly, but when you strip away all the hype, the core idea is actually pretty straightforward. At its heart, it's really about one thing: finding the signal in the noise. You can think of a data scientist as someone who can dive into messy, chaotic data and somehow find the hidden patterns, the valuable insights buried within it. They're basically a detective for data. Now, if you've ever worked with relational databases, you know all about structured data. It's clean, organized, everything fits neatly into rows and columns. Well, data science really comes alive where that structure ends. It tackles the messy stuff: user clicks, social media comments, location pings, the kind of data that reflects the unstructured chaos of the real world. So if a data scientist's job is to wrangle all of this messy data, what exactly do they need in their toolkit to pull it off? You know, it's not about being a master of just one thing. The real power of a data scientist comes from a unique combination of expertise, a blend of several different fields. Let's break this down. First, you need math like statistics to know if what you're seeing is a real pattern or just random noise. Then you need programming skills to actually clean and manipulate these huge data sets. Machine learning is the engine you use to build models that can predict things. Linear algebra is kind of the language that underpins a lot of those models. And finally, data visualization. This isn't just about making pretty charts, it's the critical skill of telling a clear and compelling story with your findings. It's that intersection of all these skills that really makes a data scientist. All right, so we've got the definition and we've got the toolkit. Now let's get to the fun part and look at where these skills actually come to life. The applications are everywhere, often working behind the scenes in ways that might actually surprise you. The examples are all around us, affecting everything from our personal lives to global politics. For instance, take dating sites. OkCupid doesn't just match you based on your stated interests. They analyze millions of user answers to find these subtle correlations, figuring out which seemingly random questions are actually the best predictors of long-term compatibility. And in retail, this gets even more fascinating. There's the famous story about Target, who analyzed customer buying habits so well that their model could predict which customers were pregnant, sometimes even before their own families knew. This let them send perfectly timed coupons and ads. It's also completely changed the game in politics. The 2012 Obama campaign was famous for its data science team. They mined enormous amounts of information to pinpoint key voters, figure out who to ask for donations, and how to get them to the polls with almost surgical precision. And then, on a truly massive scale, you have social media companies. By analyzing anonymous location data, like where users list their hometown versus their current city, Facebook can actually visualize global migration patterns and see how populations are moving across the planet. So when you see all of these powerful, diverse applications, it leads you right to our final point: the incredible, and still growing, demand for people who have these skills. So why is this field growing like crazy? Well, it really boils down to a simple case of supply and demand. We are creating data at a rate that's just mind-boggling. But the number of people who can actually make sense of it all isn't keeping up. That's created this huge skills gap, with some analysts predicting a need for millions more data scientists in the coming years. So, if you're going to remember one thing from all this, let it be this simple but powerful three-step process. You start with the data deluge, all that messy, raw information. You apply the toolkit, that blend of math, programming, and analysis. And you end with a real, tangible insight that creates actual value in the world. And that's our deep dive into data science. Hey, If you found this explainer useful, it would mean a lot if you'd like, share, and subscribe. It really helps us make more content just like this. So we'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. We've seen how data science is changing things today. But as the amount of data we create continues to just skyrocket, the range of problems it can solve is only just beginning to unfold. What challenges that seem impossible today will become solvable tomorrow?